Hey everybody, so this is a slightly different video today. I wanted to share some things on screen with you, so I'm recording this via Zoom. Before I talk you through what I have got on screen, I wanted to explain a couple of things quickly. So, I've had this massive health scare slash challenge, which I've been dealing with, um, you know, proactively since I'd known the root cause of what the problem was for the last 5.5 months. But the signs were there probably at 6 months plus, back in December time. And um, if we take it from the day that I had my operation, which was the 8th of January, I think I'm 5 months and a week in, or 2 weeks in, and there are a number of strategies which I have used to help me recover from my operation, and to help me cope physically, mentally, and emotionally with the chemotherapy program that I had to go through for 14 weeks. And some of those things, for a small amount of time and energy and potentially money, depending on how you look at it, gave me a massive impact. So the thing that I chose to do, gave me, although the time and the energy and the money invested was small, gave me a significant impact and significant effect. And then there are some smaller things, marginal gains, which if any of you have worked with me, might have heard me speak about marginal gains before. And marginal gains, these seem insignificant on a day-to-day basis, because on a day-to-day basis, singly, they are insignificant. But when you compound together, you know, a year's worth of insignificant daily habits or daily actions 365 times in a year, it then becomes as significant because of the consistency. So the things that I've been doing are really split across a small number of things that have given me a massive impact, and that's my 80-20 strategies, because 20% of the effort and the time and maybe the money give me 80% of the results that I've had. And then I've got these other things that are small things that I've done on a daily basis, but when they've been compounded together over 6 months, have meant that I have coped significantly better than a lot of people who've had to go through the same situation. And that's based on feedback from the medical community who've looked after me, and some facts. So I got out of hospital much quicker than most people who go through a colostomy. My post-surgery recovery was significantly faster. I mean, I was doing Pentland walks with one of the surgical team members 4 or 5 weeks after surgery, to try and get myself in a really, really good place before my chemotherapy started. And then, through the chemo program, it's very individual. It was like bloody hell on earth. But I had a roller coaster of ups and downs, and I was able to have the ups because I was in a good place physically, mentally, and emotionally, because of all the different strategies that I've been using. So I wanted to spend some time over the next weeks and months, digging deep into some of the strategies that I've used to help me cope with being diagnosed with bowel cancer, going through a colostomy, living with a stoma, and dealing with chemotherapy for 14 weeks, and how those strategies have helped me cope mentally and emotionally. So I wanted to spend some time and dig a little bit deeper and bring some evidence and some of my stats to the show, because you'll have had a lot of personal and emotional stuff with the story. And I just wanted kind of add on a little bit of the science. Sorry, there's this little bloody idiotic fly. Piss off! God's sake. Flipper real. Anyway, so my number one 80-20 strategy that has helped me get rid, that's helped me cope, has been my exercise program. So let me just do a little share screen so I can show you some of the goodies that I've got. So hopefully you'll be able to see some of this. So thanks to my trusty Apple Watch, which I bought for myself on a good deal with some bonus money a couple of years back, I have lots of lovely, nice data that's collected. I'm looking over in this corner because that's where I am, right? That's better. So I've got lots of lovely data that's all automatically collected for me and just helps me understand what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. So I thought we'd just quickly talk you through some of it. So with the Apple Watch, they've got kind of three or four different things that they record as you move through the day. So the red one is the number of calories that you burn through actively doing something. So it might be exercise, it might be housework. It's just based on your movement. So you'll see the goal there is called move, nice and simple. You'll see on this, which was just yesterday. We didn't do an awful lot yesterday other than some chores until after 7 o'clock at night. So you can see I still had some where I was doing some chores and trying to transition myself back into what a normal day might look like for me over the next couple of weeks as I move back to work. So the red one is move. The green one is exercise minutes. I just push a button when I start exercise on my watch, and it records it when I'm finished. I stop it and it collects all the stats, summarizes them for me. So green is exercise and blue is the number of, it's called stand. So in every hour it wants you to stand up for a minimum of, I think it's a minute or two per hour, and it's supposed to be there as a reminder for anybody that might be in a sedentary job where they're sitting all day to get up and move and stand for part of each hour, and it helps people that might, if they didn't do that, they might get issues with their back, tight hip flexors, hamstrings, and so on. So those are the three main ones, plus the steps that I take. And this records them for me. So this is a full cycle, as you can see, full cycle. I've actually done triple what I should have, what my goal was yesterday. And the stand goal, the goal's 12 hours. I must have done maybe 15 hours where I stood for an hour. I stood for at least a couple of minutes in each hour. So that's the tracker that I wanted to show you and how it collates those. It also gives me individual stats for workouts and things. So I can see a map where I've maybe walked or cycled, calories, distance covered, and so on. So that's how I've been tracking it, almost like 90% automatic. What I wanted to share with you here is just some dates and some figures. So I was admitted to hospital on Thursday, the 7th of January. My operation was on the 8th of January, and I was discharged on Thursday, the 14th. And I decided, so Thursday the 14th, Thursday, by the time I got home, it was like 5 o'clock at night. So the day was pretty much gone. I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I decided, and I think part of the Monday, and And I decided on the Tuesday, it was time for me to proactively take control of my recovery, and a big part of that's exercise and promoting me moving. Now, let me just point out, my first training session was here on the 19th of January. All it was, I set myself a goal that day. All it was a walk to the post box and back. That wasn't even a kilometre. So for people who work in miles, less than half a mile, 0.76 there and back. It took me 20 minutes. That is obscenely slow, slightly quicker than a tortoise. You know, I would only do just over 2K in an hour. That is absolutely like snail's pace for me. Normally my pace would be, I would typically do 13 minutes to do a kilometre. And I would do between 4.5 and 5 kilometres an hour. That's, you know, 1.5, 2. I'd maybe manage 2 in an hour. So really slow. I remember vividly because I had staples and I had no endurance and I was breathing out my ass. It was very embarrassing. But anyway, you know what? That's what my current state was. I wasn't bothered. And you can see on this chart here, which is for each month, you know, those rings we talked about, the ones that are complete, those are the ones that I actually met all my goals for the day. So I just reduced the goals. So the move goal, you know, last year, my move goal was like 800, between 750 and 850 calories, additional movement per day. I'm pretty sure if I went back to these dates, they were probably like 200 move calories for the day, and maybe 10 minutes exercise. But the point I'm trying to make is I just tailored it, and who cares if I couldn't even walk a kilometre that day. I made sure that I did something, and it helped me physically and mentally. So I had 19th I started, and you can see here, I think we're on the 21st of June. Since the 19th, I've had 153 days where I've completed the rings on a daily basis. So I've met my move goal, which started off at like 150, 200. It's now up to like 700. So I'm just about back to where I was before. I had my exercise goals, which might have been 5 or 10 minutes a day. It's sitting at 30 minutes at the moment. It's probably should be more like an hour. I need to reset that. And my stand ones, as long as I was getting up and standing for at least, you know, 3/4 of the day when I was awake anyway. So 153 days where I've met my goals every single day. And just take a look at these sessions. So recorded walks, 153 days. I've had 148 walks that's been recorded. There's been a small handful that I've missed. So if we call it 150, you know, we're talking a walk a day. 72 yoga. That was because for a large part of the post-surgery and for big chunks of my chemotherapy, these two were significantly higher because I didn't have the energy to do anything else, but I wanted to do something to promote my health and well-being, both physically and mentally. So 148 walking, 72 yoga, and then I've got single digit figures for some stuff that's a little bit more taxing on the body. Circuits and cardio, dance, cycling sessions, some boxing like at home, and some strength training. So what's that, 20, 30, maybe 50 sessions of slightly higher intensity, and those have come, you know, if you look at the spread of low impact and low intensity to high, it tends to have been from getting out of hospital to starting chemo. I had a low, started to increase the higher intensity and the longer distance walks. And then my chemo started, and it was a roller coaster of down, low impact, low exercise amount of time, and the amount of calories I was burning was fewer. And then as I would come out my rest cycle, I would have a little increase just for like a week as I started to feel better, and then it would dip again, and I had to go through that up and down 4 times. And I've not had any chemotherapy tablets for 2.5 weeks, so the intensity of my exercises started to come back up again, and hopefully over the next month or so I'll start to be able to do the kind of sessions that I was doing before, even before any of the symptoms showed, and before any of the pregnancies and stuff, maybe last summer. So where I was last summer, really, really good fitness wise, you know, this summer, I'm hoping by the end of the summer, I'll be through and be in a really, really good place. And I won't have bloody cancer floating about in my body to hinder as well. So, you know, that's it. Look at this, 272 workouts, 153 days. And you can see here, so that's January, February, the rings are closed. March, full month. April, full month. May, full month. And June, you know, up until yesterday. And some of these, the red arrows slightly further past. Like I did a cycling session on Friday, so I burned a lot more move calories because I was testing to see how I was feeling. And then, you know, today I've done 1 walk today, but I'll probably do some yoga tonight, and I might try and jump on the bike because I don't know if you can see, the weather's quite nice at the moment. So that's it. I just wanted to share with you some of the stats that I had. You know, it wasn't, and here's some examples just over the last week. Yeah, so last week, just 3 days. So Wednesday night, I did some yoga, Thursday walk, and I did a low impact circuit. Friday, I did a couple of walks early in the morning and late in the evening, and I did a little cycle during the day. And then I did a yoga session as well. I must have been feeling energetic that day to fit in that stuff. So you can see that the distances are quite low compared to what I typically would do anyway. So that's it. You know, I guess the message here is I went through surgery. I went through emergency major surgery. I was out of hospital 5 days, and I made a decision that I wanted to control part of my recovery through exercise that was controlled, and I changed it and flexed it based on how I was feeling each day. But regardless of if I felt like shit and I didn't want to train, I still did something, even if it was just to the post box and back. I had no excuses. I knew that this was something that I needed to do physically, mentally, emotionally to help me cope. And I knew it would shorten any painful cycles that I had to go through in terms of post-op and my chemotherapy. So there were, you know, there was probably a third of these sessions I really didn't want to do, but I didn't want to break my streak, and I forced myself to do something every single day. And I'm getting to the point where I'm reaping the benefits now, and I've come out of my chemotherapy treatment strong, and I'll hopefully be able to transition back into my normal life much quicker and move through to my stoma reversal much quicker than most patients. So that's me done. I'll stop talking. I hope that was helpful and it's given you something to think about for your own health and fitness. Regardless of where you are physically, mentally, and emotionally, try and get out and do something, even if it's just bloody 10 steps to the post box and back, if that's all you're able to do. Once you've done it once, just add another post box away, or another light away. God, the chemo brain sometimes still kicks in. So yeah, there was no excuse for me. I just did it, and I'm reaping the benefits now, and have done over the last 6 months. So I'll leave that message with you, and I'll see you on the next video.